Okay, this is the second time I'm trying to do this one. I'm a little dizzy today. Actually, I'm a lot dizzy today. I have been for days. Ever since a few nights ago when I asked before going to bed for absolute healing. In the night, I had an experience. I've had a couple experiences, ET contacts and sighting type things in the last few days. But this one happened on the night that I had asked for the healing. And I'll just go ahead and start with that one, I think. So I manifest in a car with two people I know. One of them I know from right here in my daily life. Another I know from YouTube here. We're driving down the Pacific Coast Highway right here in the Santa Monica area. I'm in the front passenger seat of the car, and I look out to my right over the ocean. The Coast Highway, of course, traverses the edge of the ocean here. And I begin to see something. I'm not sure if I'm seeing something, so I just keep looking deeper and deeper and deeper into the sky there. And it takes me just a minute till I reach a point where I'm sure I am seeing what I'm seeing. The first thing I saw was just a round cylindrical moon looking object. Have no idea what it was. And then following seeing this is when I have the sighting. I see 3 craft. Heart's racing. I'm losing a bit of consciousness because I'm getting too excited. But not so much that the experience ends. There's 3 craft. The 3 craft are identical. They're very close, perhaps, 100 yards away, something like this. They are semi-translucent. Opalescent is the word that comes to my mind, when thinking about how to describe them. Just semi-translucent, white, milky, like opal. It shimmers these light pastel-y colors, as the craft moves slightly. Right after the sighting, I dematerialize and materialize on a street, a very familiar street here, Ocean Park, and I think it's 6th. And this is where there is a small residential overpass, and I'm just looking under the pass. There's walls on either side of the pass here toward the ocean. This is a street that looks directly down at the ocean, and I'm seeing a wall of water rise up. So this is another tsunami event, and having been in one of these already, I'm like, heart pumpy, get us out of here. Still in the car, still with the 2 people I know. We're heading east super fast, trying to beat the wall of water. When I dematerialize and materialize in what I'm perceiving to be perhaps some sort of military-like, not military, but military-like hangar, possibly 4 craft. And I'm communicating with some of the people here. I find out near the end of the experience that I'm actually merged with the consciousness of another here. A variety of things happen, which I'm not going to go into, but I will say when the person who I merged with here asks why we are here, we're told that we're being tested for radiation. And this can be taken a couple different ways, but, I was very close to the craft. So I know at least a part of that was me being tested probably by my inner layers for radiation. effects from being that close to the craft. I don't know any details. I can't really go into any details. These experiences completely, just gobsmack me, actually. Just too new, too much unknown to even, begin guessing this type of stuff. I just know the event is related to me having asked for absolute healing. And by the way, I also, in the same night, asked to be shown how the symbolism of my daily life, in particular the symbolism of my work, my care work, applies to these spiritual experiences I'm having these days. A lot of people project into past lives that are very closely associated with this particular life, and they have an idea. They see what it is they were doing in those lives and how that work is continuing here in this one. And this is information that hasn't come to me yet, but that I'm beginning to get highly interested in. And so these are the ideas that were in my mind going to bed the night prior to this sighting and experience happening. So, I'll integrate, put together, and I'm sure new experiences will happen that will put through more information. Right now, that's all I can say about this one. The one that happened just prior to this, and another really interesting thing, just really, these types of experiences don't often happen for me. It just sort of, not the sightings, but the one that I'm about to bring up right now. And what I think it was I think that I entered an idea within the collective psyche. Why I entered this particular idea and had this experience, I have no idea. But I manifest in the hallway of an office building. There's, people walking by. It's a rather busy sort of location that I've arrived at. And standing in an open doorway just off to my left is a man who, when he sees me, he, motions me over. And we walk into this room. It's a meeting room. And he is attempting to help me understand a multitude of things, only a few of which I actually retained and brought back to the physical reality here with me. By the way, I'll just mention at this point that during this experience, I am also point consciousness merged in the field of another person. This is something that I may go into more detail on pretty soon, because it's an interesting phenomenon and something I'm newly beginning to discover actually happens in the vast majority of my experiences. So I am perceiving the room I'm in as just a standard office building meeting room, and the people as just human beings, but I know that during this experience, this is a filter. And that these are a variety, some human, but also non-local beings. So these are ETs that I'm with here. And it's being explained to me that there is a faction of ETs who are involved in a project right now in ending the sleep of many of us here down on the planet. During this conversation, I am also witnessing another man in the room who is glancing over at me. Periodically, when I look at him, he just sort of looks away. And I'm sort of in his face with my attention. When I see him looking at me, I'm looking at, and notice that he's looking away, I start looking at him hard, just straight on, totally unafraid, saying, I see you, I know you see me, kind of a thing. Absolutely no fear. This is how I know I'm point consciousness in the field of this person at this point. No fear. uh, the man who is helping me to understand things at this point lets me know that there are, that not everybody agrees with this being done, with the sleep of certain human beings being ended, them being woken up. And I have no idea why. At this point in the experience, I get really curious just to know the reasoning, any sort of good idea behind not being for that, and I'm sort of opening to know their side, why they would not want this to happen. I don't know what exactly they're opposed to. If it's a particular type of assistance or interference or something, or an assistance that they look at as interference, or what, so I would have to gain more detail there to know exactly what was going on there. But these two men, these two beings were primary in this particular experience. The one that was trying to help me understand. I won't go into the detail again on the precise things, the many precise things he was trying to help me be clear on. The one that seemed key was that, there were those of them who were helping us to awaken, and that not everybody agreed with this being done. That seemed to be the prime key thing. The other man was clearly one of the ones who did not agree with this being done. And at a certain point, there's an interruption in the meeting where the energy shifts. It becomes not a good idea to continue the meeting where it is. It's been infiltrated in a way that I guess compromised what could potentially happen there. I'm starting to feel a little uncertain now at this point. And I reach over and I just for support touch the man's forearm who's helping me. And just sheer body language tells me that something about us being seen together directly was not a good idea at that point. And but during the contact where I was touching him, I got the telepathic message that the location for this meeting was going to have to be changed. And at this point, this is really fascinating because, at this point, this is all I'm really letting into my awareness so far, just what I've relayed to you. But at this point, when he says the meeting location has to change, I'm aware of many beings standing up from the table that we were at to leave and relocate. And at this point, I can see them all. And I'm looking around the room and just sort of taking them all in. It's a filter. They all look human, but all very drastically different looks and sizes and colors, which was sort of interesting. This experience goes on into a bunch of other stuff that I won't go into because it's not key to the point of this video, or at least that I can see at this point. The one thing that I guess I really want to put this through. This came up in a conversation that just a brief chat I was having with somebody here on YouTube last night about ideas. In a sense, the life that we're living, our own particular reality, is just a compilation of ideas that we pick up, that we take on, to experience. And I don't know where the idea arose from originally in the collective psyche, that there's opposition to the awakening. And I don't personally feel that there actually is. It's simply an idea that I could take on for myself and experience real as real could be, or that, I don't need to. I don't have to, There are things within the idea that I do find interesting that I would like to understand. Uh, and I feel I can do this without taking the idea on for myself. um, but there's something in here that I feel is really important to everyone. Everyone who doesn't quite glean fully yet, and I'm right at the front of the class here on this one, that there's nothing in particular happening, that we do pick up ideas and we either let them stick to us and experience them, again, real as real can be, or we don't. There are so many ideas that people are picking up out there and taking on for themselves. And I think it's just really important to realize that what you're experiencing is an idea you've picked up and let stick to yourself for a period of time, in order to experience, in order to understand, in order to gain some sort of knowledge, but that it's not an objective thing that actually is happening. Like an objective thing that's happening independently of you. It's because these things nothing is out there happening independently of us. It's all, ideas that we've let come in to our awareness, and that we're investigating and exploring as we choose to investigate and explore that idea. And as we do that, it does manifest into what we call reality, real as real could be. But I just think it's important to see that central action of picking up the idea, of choosing to pick up the idea and take it on in the first place. Seeing the full picture of how what we like to call reality happens. It's really fun. It really does put you back in the driver's seat rather than the passenger or victim role.